Hello everyone! Today I've come to do what I love doing most. Mix, match, and make. Hell yeah! And guess what's on our roster today? Well, today I'm gonna bring all your twisted imaginations to life inside the Bleach universe. A tinge of spice to our noble character turned malice. But I'm truly gonna play Professor Utonium and create the coldest and most villainous and the most gnarly villain out of the most badass ingredients perfectly selected from the most badass villains in Bleach. That's right, I've done my research. It's done and dusted, and I have found some of the most powerful and impactful villains in the Bleach world. Today we are going to play some Bleach Cult and create the one that will prevail over them all. We gotta focus on the perfect mix, not the intensity here, people. We gotta give it some character, some flesh, some Dio, and so let's get into it. Starting with the Grand Fisher, one of the first big baddies to show up in Bleach, and things got personal with him. It's a strong hollow, but its combat skills don't really stack up to others on this list. Villain 2, Jinichimaru. And well, if we are really talking about some manipulation, why not enter mind games? Everyone knows the captains of the Goatee 13 are insanely powerful, and taking one on is basically a one-way trip to the afterlife. Some of them even go way beyond regular Soul Reaper strength. Jinichimaru is one guy who broke those limits, becoming a total powerhouse during his 100 years in the Sererete. And let's not forget, he's also the king of mind games. Seriously, this guy could probably win a chess match without even moving a piece, and that too with pure cheat. Jin's insane strength often gets overlooked because, well, Eizen took him down pretty fast. But don't let that fool you. Jin showed off his skills plenty of times throughout Bleach. His Zanpakuto is also pretty special. Its Bankai doesn't get a flashy makeover like the others, which might have bummed some fans out, but it more than makes up for it with pure strength and power. But honestly, it's not even the main thing I want to highlight in my ultimate villain from Jin. It's the dirty, dirty mind games that I want to add. Yep, you heard me right. Silver hair, eyes as cold and blue as the winter sky, and that ever-present sneaky grin. This guy is a mind game. From early graduation to becoming a captain, Jinichimaru has been called a genius time and again. Most people think his genius just means he's a beast in combat and with his Zanpakuto, but there's a twist. His real genius? Psychological warfare. With his sly manipulative nature, Jin can mess with his opponent's mind so badly they're left mentally wiped out and in an incapacitated state. Perfect for Toei. Deception is a big part of Jin's whole fighting style as well. He's got that calm, chill look that hides the real danger underneath. On the battlefield, his laid-back attitude makes it super hard for anyone to guess what he's going to do next. And let's be real, his snake-like personality fits his sneaky fighting style perfectly. He slithers right into his opponent's heads, messing with their minds and breaking them down from the inside. Jin's case is also an interesting one. Unlike Eizen, Jin never hid the fact that he was a bad person, and I think that transparency is unheard of in Bleach. He's just pure rotten. I honestly believe that's the case, and oh, such clear hate for a villain would look good on my guy. He was still a callous human being. He had no regard for anyone but himself and Rengiku, and he was never shy to express his emotions regardless of the situation he was put in. And so, taken from Jin, we put in a little deception, a little mind churn, and a little rotten brashness of him. On to another. Villain 3, Ukiura Cypher. He's the embodiment of nihilism, the demon of despair. This guy straight up viewed humans as trash, but over time he got a little curious about them. And let's not forget the key thing about him, he didn't believe in the heart at all. Classic Udora, right? Ukiura's final showdown with Ichigo is hands down the most legendary fight in the series, and most fans would agree. He even straight up killed Ichigo after giving him the beatdown of a lifetime. But we gotta talk about his Segana Itapa. This is where his whole bat demon vibe goes full throttle. He calls it the true form of despair, and honestly, he's not wrong. He looks insanely cool, but also terrifying. With that look, he's crushing Ryatsu, and his already dark and brooding personality, I'd be drowning in despair too. His aspect of death being nothingness really hits home when he transforms into this form. Now, let's talk about Ukiura's ability. This guy mostly sticks to hand-to-hand combat, barely ever pulling out his sword. Ichigo even guesses that Ukiura only bothers using his blade against foes he thinks are worthy. He's also a fan taking fights to the sky, often attacking from above. And Ukiura's signature move, impaling his opponents in the chest, leaving them with a hole in the same spot as his own. Pretty dark and pretty compelling. Now you can see why I chose him as one of the villains. I'm so proud. Anyway, then there's his Yaro, a defensive ability that pretty much every Espanda possesses, allowing them to absorb most attacks with little to no damage. Only a very powerful offensive move would be enough to put them in any trouble. In Ukiura's case, his Yaro is way more powerful than most of his other Espada brethren. The fact that he's able to take a direct hit from Ichigo's Bankai with just a scratch shows just how effective his defenses really are. Besides his insane combat skills, Ulquiorra's got some serious brains to back it up. His intelligence is so sharp that even Eizen, yeah, the guy known for his genius, respects him. Eizen trusted Ulquiorra to check out Ichigo's power and assess the threat level. With his cool, calm, and collected vibe, Ulquiorra is super analytical. He's quick to size up his opponents, figuring out their strengths and weaknesses in no time. Man's running battle statistics in his head while everyone else is just swinging swords. This is tough though. He's got both a villainous personality and the skills, but I guess I'll pass on the nihilism personality since I want my villain to be a little Dio, as I said, and definitely gotta add some defenses to my guy as well. So we'll add his Yaro intellectual skill and the badass hand-to-hand combat in. Villain 4, Byakuya Kuchikai. With his pure white Ryatsu that's rumored to be super powerful and capable of striking fear when unleashed, Byakuya stands as an elite level Shimigami, even among the captains of the Goatee 13. Several characters in Bleach have vouched for his strength, claiming he's one of the strongest members in the Kuchikai family history. He's skilled in nearly all the fighting styles used by the Shinigami, and his battle approach is always calm and elegant. He is class, baby! Byakuya was first introduced as one of the Shinigami sent to bring Ryukaya back to Soul Society. Even in his initial clash with Ichigo, Byakuya showed off his insane strength, easily defeating the substitute Shinigami and breaking his Zenpakukudo in the process. Later fights in the series revealed his immense power even more as he unleashed his Shikai and Bankai against stronger foes like Ichigo after he trained harder. Just as skilled in swordsmanship, Kaido, Shampo, and Hakudo, Byakuya's power is truly monstrous when he goes all out, giving some of the strongest characters in the series a serious challenge. As a master swordsman, Byakuya's attacks leave hardly any openings for his opponents, and he pulls off techniques with nearly perfect precision. Trained by Yorichi Shohoin, he's one of the top Shampo users in all the Soul Society, and his speed is almost unbeatable, except for the Flash goddess herself, of course. He can move so fast that he leaves after images and can even seal an opponent's spiritual energy before they realize what hit them. He is the Flash in Bleach, and I'm here for it. Kaido is another area where Byakuya really shines. He can whip up complex spells without even needing to chant them, and he can do it over and over without breaking a sweat. Even his low-level technique packs a punch, like when he hit Ichigo with Byakurai, a basic Hadu spell, and carved a hole right through his shoulder during the battle. Ouch! That's one way to get a hole in your defense. He might not have a lot of character compared to others on the list, but I really want to put his flash speed into my guy. So I'm picking abilities from Byakuya and putting in his speed and his Kaido. Next up is Tatsuki Shima. Isn't it crazy that Tatsuki Shima, who is only 25, non-hybrid, can fight toe-to-toe with a captain who has at least 200 more years of experience than him? Well, he's not just 25. Every time he slashes someone, he inserts himself into someone's past, gaining experience and events that happened in those created realities. Tatsuki Shima's BOTE allows him to gain the knowledge of the user in a sense, since he's also looking into their past, making him able to execute techniques that would normally take decades to master in an instant. Tatsuki Shima is not strong, but simply very skilled. With only the past we've seen briefly, he gained experience in fighting Udora, Eizen, etc. It's important to note that despite what some say, Tatsuki Shima's power is not memory manipulation. When he says he inserts himself into someone's past, he means it. For example, Tatsuki Shima stabs me and inserts himself into my past as a piano teacher. I am now able to play the piano because I genuinely spent countless hours practicing with him while he taught me everything he knows, though a friend would remember me as having never played the piano in my life, because from his perspective I didn't. The me from Timeline A is converted to the new from Timeline B, and that switch only happens to the person cut. Even people that have shared memories will find their accounts differ because the change will only affect those who were cut. Another notable example is his ability to set traps. Since his ability isn't memory manipulation, he's able to use it on the ground to set these things up. When he slices the ground, he actually spends the time setting that trap up purely from the ground's perspective. That is mad crazy, and the sole reason I chose him as one of my ingredients. We are definitely adding his past mingling ability in our vision. Done and dusted. Villain 6, Ywat. And now for the most overpowered villain on this list. Oh geez, I've been waiting for this part so excitedly, because with these last two villains, I'm gonna break some character into my guy. Coming on, our second last villain is Ywat. How could I forget this man? He's literally Nazi Jesus. Ywat is the son of the Soul King, is a special type of Quincy with a godlike power to share his souls with others. This is a give-and-take system where Ywat lends others powers in exchange for them empowering him. Ywat, however, was quite a cruel lender of his power, inflicting terror upon his Quincy when he came to collect on the power he lent out. All the Quincy contained pieces of his soul, as he is the father of the Quincy, the Grandpapa. Ywat can change the future of anything around him, not just himself. He gives away power so that when those people die, their power automatically goes back to Ywat. He empowers the innate abilities of whoever he gives letter powers to. If you want the most literal answer possible, Ywat's powers allow him to mix and match different timelines. He can stitch any future into reality, even if it's not one that is foreseeably possible. He sees the infinite future possibilities and chooses which one actually happens, basically giving him absolute control over the future. He can attack directly from the future, making his actions instant, and if he destroys something in all timelines, that thing can never heal or be repaired. All special abilities he sees in the future can't harm him or be used against him. He can completely absorb energy, body, and soul from a being, granting him all of his strength and abilities. He can do so instantly for beings weaker than himself, but requires a bit more time for those vastly stronger than him. He can use his powers when he's already dead and can resurrect himself. Oh my god, what can this man not do? And some Naruto fans think Madara can defeat Ywat. Makes me laugh. I think it's understood that I'm putting Ywat's future juggling in my guy. Villain 7, Eizen. And for our final but the most popular villain in all of Bleach, Eizen. Man, oh man. Eizen's betrayal of Soul Society is hands down one of the most jaw-dropping moments in Bleach. This seemingly soft-spoken captain turns out to be a mastermind, playing his own game the whole time. This Shinigami is so powerful that his Shikai can totally nullify any threats from his opponents. The fact that his Bankai hasn't been revealed yet is another sore spot, but gives us so many possibilities. In other words, we have no idea how much more badass he is, and I'm sure as hell giving my created villain some infinite possibilities. So in that goes. Basically, how I can explain Eizen's power is, see that apple? That was never an apple. That was a bloody monster apple. It's a false creation. After seeing the release, a spell can be placed on an object and it can be whatever Eizen wants it to be. If it turns a human into a 10-pound dumbbell, then the person under the effects of it could lift that human as though they were a 10-pound dumbbell, and everything around them interacts with that human like a 10-pound dumbbell from the perspective of the one under hypnosis. The spells he places on objects or people don't require active control. If he understands how something looks, feels, smells, tastes, or sounds, he can cause that condition on whatever he chooses and just leave. Anyone under the effects of Kyoka Suigetsu will interact with the spelled object the way Eizen intended. He is twisted, crazy, amazing, and full of character. I mean, Eizen sort of represents a Lucifer figure. Eizen is a fallen angel in that he was once a paragon of Soul Society who desired to be God because he saw himself as better than the current God. He ascends to Huko Mondo, an analog to the Christian hell, and becomes the king of the demons/hollows. He wants to be God purely due to his carnal desires, which is why he is evil personified. I am definitely an Eizen fan. And I can bet my life I'm putting his god vibe into my villain. Closing. And with that, we have come to the end of our villain making. He's ready and invincible as hell. I mean, I'm totally proud. Imagine doing something not even Eizen could demolish. Cause he's him and better. But, oh, wait, what about One Punch Man? Yikes.